Once again, it is Sunday. I can't stand the feedback. Turn yours off.
food that would normally have been thrown out, and give it to those in need. They pivoted shortly after October 7th to helping the kibbutzim and other moshavim and other farms who lost their workers. Either they went home, if they were foreign workers, most of them went home, and probably the best thing about the Leket program, it's L-E-K-E-T it's spelled, is they provide transportation. So they'll say, you get on their WhatsApp group and they'll say, in 2 days we're going to this kibbutz, we're going to pick lemons, be at the central bus station at 7 a.m. There's a bus for you. They take you there, you do your work for the day, and take you back home. It's really, they make it extremely easy and convenient to do that sort of thing. The website is very searchable. You can put in, let's say you're over 60 and you want to work in Tel Aviv for 1 day. You could filter all those attributes into your search, and they will spit back where there's opportunity, where there's need for your work. So I became involved in the group. I was actually sort of technically in Israel on October 7th. I had gone to a wedding 3 days prior. We had been in Israel for 10 days prior, and our flight took off about 2 a.m. on October 7th. And we found out about what was going on in the air with people who had computers. And I'll never forget, a seatmate of mine was really experiencing what was going on in real time as well as they knew it. And she turned to me and she said, I was trying to read the Hebrew and some words I just couldn't understand. And she says, it says we've been invaded, and was expressing shock at the time that 33 people had been killed. So that was our understanding of what was going on at the time. And obviously we all rushed home when the flight was over and found out what really happened. So after that, I've been a lifelong Zionist. I'm the guy who has a flag on their house. I had one until all the hostages came home. Have it for Yom HaShoah, things like that. I lived there for 3 years as a younger man, and have done a variety of programs. So I just knew I had to give back, and this Israel Volunteers was the perfect way to do it. Other than picking lemons, I went to a banana farm and helped trim banana trees, which is an experience I had never done before. There are these soldier kind of rest stops. I mean, almost like a USO-like undertaking, except it's the citizens who are doing it, not the government. And the citizens have created all these rest stops and little restaurants for the soldiers, and I would go there for the day and just do whatever was needed, clean pots and pans or prepare food to the soldiers. And it's just an incredibly meaningful experience to be able to give something back. The soldiers look at you like you're crazy, like, what are you doing here? But they're so appreciative. I guess one other bit of information is the Israel Volunteers opportunity, kind of their makeshift headquarters is at the Hotel Maxim in Tel Aviv, which is right on the beach. And that's where many people who are volunteering go, and you would meet up for breakfast in a setting like this and talk about where you want to volunteer, sort of swap information. Oh, I've done this. This is a great opportunity here. Skip this one. This might be, it's in the hot sun all day. This was during the summer, so a lot of these programs would start early in the morning because it was so hot. But you're able to just meet fellow volunteers from all over the country, all over the world. We were there, I was there, so I've gone the last 2 summers. The last summer, there were some sirens still going on from missile attacks from Iran. And, we're woken up and we go down to the bomb shelter at 2 a.m. And I meet a woman from New Jersey, a Jewish woman from New Jersey, and an evangelical Christian from Nevada, and decide that the next day we're going to rent a car and go to one of these soldier rest stops and volunteer for the day. And it's that easy. You walk half a block, there's a car rental place, and you drive down, and you're so welcomed down there, and they put you to work. You're preparing food, making schnitzel, serving food, cleaning up, and that's the sort of thing you do.
Are you going back? Are you going back this summer?
Probably going back in July. Yeah.
And how long do you go for?
I mean, I go for 2 weeks usually over the summer. You can do. I would usually do day-long volunteer opportunities. So one day I would, do an agricultural thing. Another day I helped a young man whose mom's apartment in Tel Aviv had her windows blown out by Iranian missiles. So that was through an organization called Lev Echad. And, I met up with them. Yeah, One Heart. And I met up with them, and he certainly didn't know a volunteer was coming to help him and was incredibly grateful. And I just helped him tape up plastic sheeting on the inside of the apartment where the windows used to be for the day.
Can you go all year round?
Yes, it is. It's a 24/7, or what they say, 24/6, 365 program. It certainly is not only in the summer. And
operating right now.
Yeah, they're operating right now, and I see them continuing to operate regardless of a war or not a war.
We know that our guy, Shai, was called up from Miluim reserves. And so, not that somebody would take his job, but people who are called up on reserves, if they're at a kibbutz or they do agricultural, they need volunteers to come in and help and to make sure that, especially the food, you don't want the food just lying in the fields. And it's
Right.
It's just profoundly sad.
And some of those organizations, like Leket, has been around for years and has, wasn't a response to October 7th in that sense, but of course stepped up during that time. But even on past congregational trips, we volunteered with Leket, right? And go out, because what they started as was they would gather food from celebrations in Israel, things like that, where there was extra food, and they would get it to people who were hungry. And they have some land that they actually farm. So we went out and harvested kohlrabi, which most of the people in our group had never eaten any kohlrabi. And so they're very excited to actually try it later on the trip. And at the end of the trip, when we asked people, what's the most meaningful thing you did on this trip, as I asked, guys, what meant the most to you? And some of them, quite a few, said picking kohlrabi was, right, getting in the Israeli dirt and doing something was really meaningful. I'd say that anytime you do a trip to Israel, there is it's a service trip in its own way, right? It's not always dedicated like what Todd's doing, which is totally dedicated to volunteering each day in a different place. But the truth is, and I know you guys remember how welcome you felt wherever we went, right? Because they hadn't seen a lot of tourist groups. It'd been a while since folks like us with kids came through, and that was really meaningful to people. And of course, anytime you spend a buck on, in a little makolet,
Grocery store.
Yeah, it's a little grocery store, a bodega, you know,
Yeah,
and you
Royal Bodega.
went and bought coffee and got snacks, you know, you're helping out to the person who runs that place, right? And so again, when there isn't the kind of tourist traffic that Israel was used to before October 7th, you know, you're doing service just by doing that. And when we visit a place like Yad Hashish, for example, and then we certainly made their day in their shop afterwards. So you know, so every trip to Israel, in a certain sense, is a service trip, right? And so that's worth thinking about, no matter where you go and what you're doing there. So, but it's really remarkable what you've done. That's fantastic. And,
Yeah,
you know,
what's the unique volunteer experience you had?
Uh, I had an opportunity to spend a week at Kibbutz Kfar Aza um, in 2 summers ago, so the summer after October 7th. They have a sister kibbutz up north who had organized to come down and basically I was a landscaper for a week for the common areas. Everything had overgrown, you know, plants hadn't been watered. Everyone's individual garden had, you know, gone to hell. Um,
Can
and
you tell everyone a little bit about what happened at Kfar Aza on October 7th? I'm trying to find pictures.
Yeah, Kfar Aza was one of the kibbutzim that were attacked and invaded on October 7th. I don't know this membership numbers, but they, I think, lost the highest percentage of people. I think 64 people were killed, 18 kibbutzniks were taken hostage. The it was hallowed ground. They had
Here we go.
set up areas and put signage where kibbutz members had fallen and given stories about what was going on, what happened there. The American Keith Siegel was taken from Kfar Aza. He was there. There were a small group of kibbutz residents still living there. Most of them had fled, and that was a great debate within the kibbutz about whether they were going to come back, if it was safe to come back, if they could trust the government or the army to keep them safe. But I spent a week with Israelis. This was really a program for Israelis. I just had heard about it and joined up. So there was evening activities where they would take us to other kibbutzim or moshavim and give a little talk about what their experiences were. And we'd get up at 5 in the morning because of the heat and work till about 1. You know, cutting weeds and, you know, pulling weeds and cutting grass and just beautifying the homes of kibbutz members who were planning on coming back.
So I was showing pictures. This is Kfar Aza, and what you see in the distance is Gaza. So you can see how close these kibbutzim are. They call it the Gaza envelope, Otaf Aza. And it'd be interesting to find out how many there were the, you know, security booths, my group. And, you know, I don't know how many people came back. It was really a very heartbreaking day to be there.
It's still like that now.
There's been a question about what to rebuild and when and how. And so they've been deliberately leaving some of the burned homes and things like that the way they are. Last I heard anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and trying to, but on a much larger scale, you know, I mean, Highland Park has tried to figure out how do you memorialize July 4th from a few years ago. And it's a years long process that involves a lot of dealing with trauma and things like that, and a lot of conversation about what's the right thing to do. So So as of now, things like what Todd's talking about, where, um, I was at Kfar Aza before you, I think, and so I saw the stuff overgrowing. That's remember there was an etrog tree outside somebody's home, which was badly in need of trimming, and etrogim were falling off the tree onto the ground, and it was sort of just a metaphor, right? But so and I walked around with a member of the kibbutz at the time, and I was with a small group of rabbis from America, and at the end, we asked her, what did she need? She said, "I need a hug." So
And you saw the signs there are in English. So that's not for Israelis, that's for, Americans and other, I don't want to say tourists. And
That's since October 7th.
Yeah.
yeah.
And those signs weren't up when I went, I think, because I think I went before you. I think
I went in March.
I went in January. Yeah. So I think. Anyway, on our most recent trip, we made, as we made some deliberate choices not to center it on October 7th and to take a longer view of both the history and the future of Israel, and to do some things that I've been wanting to do for a long time and didn't have the right group to do it with until you guys came along, which was to explore some of the natural wonders of Israel. It's such an amazing geography. I've told people over the years that I'd like to do a trip that's exclusively that. Who needs Tel Aviv? Let's go.
Right.
Let's go see these beautiful things, right? It never quite works out that way. But this trip, we got to do a little more of that. We went down to Mitzpeh Ramon and the Negev, and we got to stargaze on New Year's Eve from the bottom of Mitzpeh Ramon, which is a true dark. It's a true darkness site. It was a full moon that night, so we got more moon than stars, but it was still a pretty remarkable way to spend Sylvester, as it's called there, right?
Okay.
So, so I said, on every trip, you can do any kind of trip that you're interested in doing. I mean, we've done trips where, we call them dual narrative trips. I've been on those kinds of trips where I've actually spent time in occupied territory and seen what that's like. And we've done trips where we volunteer and do all kinds of things within the historic boundaries of the state. And trips that are more political, where you get more speakers and from different political parties and members of Knesset and that kind of stuff. So there, any kind of trip you can think of, it's possible to do. Right. So by no means did we exhaust the possibilities on our trip. And you never exhaust the possibilities, frankly. I mean, that's the thing. And every time Vanessa and I go back, we see something we haven't seen before, right? For me, a lot of this was stuff I hadn't seen in decades, but there was also, we went to that solar farm. That's something I had never seen before. There's only 2 of them in the world like that. So, so that was pretty cool. That solar thing, the big tower that looks like Sauron's eye in the middle.
Yeah.
Find it.
No.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd never seen that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And
John.
the volunteer.
Yeah. Day before. Jeep ride. When they had 2 different types of Jeeps and they said, okay, this is the one for Saba and Safta, the grandparents. I said, I'm in that one. I'm a Safta. And I keep thinking about all of these places that now have no tourists again.
Right.
And it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and think about those guys who drove us through the desert, and in a way, just doing that,
There's
as
the
I said,
solar.
there's a mitzvah,
Here.
right? Yeah,
And then we went sandboarding.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I love that place. That was it, yeah. That was.
Mhm.
This was weird.
Yeah.
There's the solar panels.
They
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
heat the water to turn the turbines, sunlight.
Yeah.
I sandboarded or snowboarded or skateboarded?
ran into people we
Good
knew
job.
there.
Of course.
It's like,
Of course you
of
did.
all
There,
places.
there's that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Where we eat the day top ground. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's, I always tell groups, you're gonna run
You
into somebody
will.
we know.
Right.
But this group, we ran into people we knew from around here all
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah, yeah. But the one in sandboarding, most of you guys were up on top of it. I ran into a guy who knows my brother. Now, I have a brother who's a rabbi, so it's not surprising to run into. I have another brother who's a musician, and he knew that one. Yeah.
Someone at the sandboarding gym.
Yeah, those guys from Miami. That's
Yeah.
so yeah, it turns out my brother was the recording engineer for their CD of their Friday Night Live.
Their son.
Yeah, right. Who
I-
plays music, right?
About the astronomer. He was amazing.
Yeah.
And what's he doing now?
I was supposed to do that. There was too much clouds the night
Oh.
we were gonna
Do
go.
it. Next time you
Yeah.
go, do it, do it.
Yeah,
They
It's
canceled it.
amazing.
preferably on the
Mr.
night
John.
when it's a new moon instead of a
Mm,
full moon.
right,
because then
right.
It's even better.
Oh, this is the camel ride. And no trip is,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and this is the salad trail.
You met this guy probably over the years, the guy, the salad trail guy.
I don't.
Tell us about the
So,
salad trail.
you know, the Gaza envelope.
Mm.
The dog's name was COVID. What else?
Why does my hair look so different?
I met this guy with a group of rabbis, and you know, it was a very serious, deep cover. And we went there with the kids, and he's having them hold baby ducks.
Right.
And,
That's great.
he's got the dogs doing tricks, and you know, he's got to do something that he doesn't get to do.
So, I think this guy, was he an American?
No, he was a military guy, right? And he just decided in his retirement he wanted to do like a test farm, and so that's what he has. So it's not a farm that, you know, it's not a big factory farm or thing that. It's all hydroponics, you know, growing strawberries and tomatoes in the air, you know, and showing the possibilities of things to people. So and then it's become this thing that he does and brings.
Yeah.
It is now. It pretty much became a tourist destination.
All right, let's see if I got the birds. Remember, they gave us pigeons. Doves. We were supposed to hold them. Yes.
Yeah, they're homing.
There's one. There's,
Did the video of me throwing my pigeons?
I don't know. Oh, this is.
That was
no.
lunch.
These are
Yeah.
okay, and we're done.
Yeah, I
It
don't.
looks like Arthur's.
Yeah.
I went, Arthur was at home, and I go through these slides and there's all pictures of what he ate. Like in case I was concerned that he,
Yeah.
yes.
But I would say with all these volunteer opportunities, really anyone can do it. Age is really not a factor.
Okay, so you listening? Anyone can do it.
Anyone
Age is not a factor.
What? Turned down twice, 2 places. We contacted the consul general shortly after the war started.
The upper end.
Last year, we contacted the rabbi at the temple of Blanco, because he was supposed to be.
Oh, Steve, Rabbi Lowenstein.
We were told we were too old, that we wouldn't fit into any of those groups.
Mhm.
When we asked to go on your trip, I said, I can't walk far. Can I just sit on the bus when everybody walks? No, that wouldn't work. So
It's hard.
age is a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know once you're there, if you're in Israel already, once you're there, so once you're there, if you're in Israel already, there are volunteer opportunities that will take anybody regardless of age. It doesn't require walking. If you could sit down at a table and help pack, food for needy families, that sort of thing, they could.
Volunteer. We both speak Hebrew. We both have spent years in Israel. We've lived there for 10 years.
Great.
And farmed and had a lot of knowledge, picking, packing, and everything
Uh-huh.
that we offered. They said we were too old.
Yeah. So I think Todd's right, Sandy. If you were there and you went and volunteered, they'd put you to work. But if you ask ahead of time, can I go do this? They're gonna say, they're gonna look at some table or other and say, no, I don't think so. I don't think so, right? Yeah.
Because
Yeah. So this particular congregational trip would not have been a good one for you. You can see from some of the pictures down in Mitzvah Ramon and the walking and that stuff. But our other trips in past years would have been, yeah, yeah,
the Israel Volunteer Opportunities Program, it's a clearinghouse for volunteer opportunities. It doesn't sponsor or run their own programs. So it's a pretty ad hoc group, and some people have a problem. You basically get to Israel and then you contact them and find volunteer programs for yourself. So if you're the kind of person that gets a little uncomfortable not having everything planned out weeks in advance, it might be difficult to do, because this is, you might find out about going to a banana field 2 days before, and then you just meet the bus and they'll take you there. So it's you can find programs and volunteer opportunities for seniors, that like you said, involve packing, packing fruit, for example. That sort of stuff is there on the website. There's even a filter for over 60. If you're over 60 and want to volunteer, click on this tab.
expect they need one for over 90.
Okay.
I think about when you went with Rabbi Taylor, you were my age. Pretty close. It's been 20 years, right?
And some going to Israel since 58.
Yeah, I
Wow.
know.
Wow.
Yeah. But with Rabbi Taylor, that's got to be 20 years ago. Yeah, yeah, because Rabbi Evan's been here 17 years now. So close to 20 years ago.
They're-
Do they pay for anything, or you paid for your flight?
they don't,
and, housing?
right. You pay for everything. They're not, they don't, they do, they've done a little fundraising, and they do offer some scholarships to help people get over there. Need-based, options for folks.
Place to stay, you said pay for it? Like, would you stay in the kibbutz or?
Yeah, I mean, on the kibbutz, I didn't pay for that. That was kind of room and board in exchange for your labor. But as I said, most people stay at this hotel that is kind of the unofficial headquarters, and they give, I think it was 30% off discount. They give discounted rates for volunteers.
There you go. Is that it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I can also tell you, first of all, we do have a lot of young people here. You will be eligible for birthright when you get into college, and I highly recommend that. My youngest son also, I don't know if they're still, the name of that organization is Masa, which means an experience, and means a journey, and they have different volunteer things, and Ethan, and his girlfriend, now fiance, went for a month, and Masat paid for their, I think their housing, maybe the flight. I'd have to ask him. And so, and I don't know if they did any, they took him on some tours. And both Hannah and Ethan had been to Israel before, and Ethan speaks Hebrew fairly well. And it was great. It was great. Because you can work on American time, because they had jobs. You had to have a job. You can work American times because they're 7 hours ahead. So they'd get up in the morning, tour, volunteer, and then they'd have to start working. And yeah, it's a super long day, super, super long day. And so, you can always come find me, and I'm happy to find you volunteer activities, because I think that it's so important to keep going back, keep going back. And you took this family trip, and it's important now to go with your peers, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Are people able to get there right now? I don't know what the deal is with flights.
El Al,
LL for
So-
sure,
El Al for sure from here.
or via Europe.
Yeah.
You can get to Europe on any carrier, and then some of the smaller carriers, some of the European-based smaller carriers like Ryanair, Wizz Air, are flying out of. I know in particular out of Athens. There's some.
That is the usual way to get to Greece, and then Greece to Israel, and Greece back home.
And
And
if you want a really interesting adventure, you can fly into Amman, Jordan,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
come across into Israel through the border between Jordan and Israel. You know, you just go through passport control.
Across the Dead Sea. Yeah.
You know, you take a taxi to the border, you know, and pick up another one on the other side. So and in fact, when things were at, you know, when the airport really was closed a month ago in this war, that's how people were getting in and out, is through
Mhm.
Egypt and Jordan, right?
Right, and these birthright trips that were caught there last
Yeah.
summer,
Yeah,
you know, taking the ferries from
Yeah.
to Haifa to
Cyprus.
Cyprus, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got out. One
Or
summer
Turkey.
I was there, my United flight was canceled, and I had to take a charter. It's like a Kyrgyzstan. I don't know where they were from, but a charter to Cyprus, and got out that way.
I did once when it wasn't wartime. It was just I was touring in Egypt, and I wanted to go to Israel afterwards. So I went from Egypt to Amman to Tel Aviv. Right. So it's I ended up with like 3 45-minute flights. So I was down by Aswan. So I flew from Aswan to Cairo, Cairo to Amman, Amman to Tel Aviv.
Any other questions, comments? We can still hang out. There's still bagels. It's good to see you all.
Yeah, it's great to have a reunion from our trip. So really nice to see
Yeah,
you
good
guys.
seeing-
It was-
Please tell everyone we say hi.
I think I've told some of you that, you know, I honestly, I thought when I started that trip that this was going to be my last trip, you know. And then I had so much fun that immediately it was like,
Like, when the
okay,
next
when is the next one? We got to do another one. What?
The tunnel.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
end.
we're skipping the tunnel
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They insisted I said I wanted to go through that tunnel
Yeah.
when we were planning, and definitely not.
Now we know, though.
Not if you've done
Next
that
time,
from the
No.
city of David
Yeah,
excavation into the old city. There's, you know,
Like
I've gone through
Yeah.
Hezekiah's tunnel, the
Right,
wet tunnel,
right.
you know, but there's a dry tunnel.
Uh-huh.
So,
and
I've done the wet one, not the dry one.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
wet one, that's fun.
the dry one is
Bigger, it's
Right,
wider,
right.
you know. This was like very,
very, very,
and the lights went out.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The wet tunnel is more fun.
Freezing cold.
Not when it's cold. Like I've done that in the summer, and when you know, put on a bathing suit and you
Yeah.
go through it, you know, I mean, that's a different experience, and it's also a biblical time period tunnel. You know, it goes back to the time of King Hezekiah. So you can actually see where there's a small spot where they made one mistake. They started digging on both ends of the tunnel to meet in the middle. And there's one spot where there's a little veer off, because, and then they figured it out and came back together. It's actually a remarkable feat of engineering, and it's very cool to walk through that, and even more fun in a bathing suit with a lit candle,
Right.
It's hot.
when it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that feels really good, but
You always leave something for the next time. And I know one thing left with me, one, I will be back, but how thankful, even the hotels were thanking us, the museum. Yes, everywhere. And we just have to go back. We were, it was really, maybe Bashir, a piece of luck that we made the, the plans. The war was still on, the war ended, there wasn't another war. Like we went in the only window. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And I just, I have to remind you all of the Bar Mitzvah service itself, which was
yeah.
so lovely to be able to do that, and to be able to do that with your families and with Todd, who I've partnered with on so many of these services for other people's kids,
Yeah.
so to be there with you for that. And then the way it turned out, which, I was, at first I was so disappointed we weren't going to be able to, it was raining, it's pouring that morning. So we didn't get to do it at the Western Wall in the egalitarian space, which is beautiful. But the spot where we got to do it was extraordinary. I was
Extraordinary.
just so lucky to, yeah, the place where Isaac Luria was born, in that room, according to the story. Yeah.
And
So,
warmer and more comfortable.
Yeah.
We could
For
all
sure.
sit
Yeah.
down.
I was pretty wet and we got.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oops, not nice.
uh-huh.
It's like.
Yeah, there's this little museum in the old city that I have never
Here,
been
I'll
to.
put it up.
I think it's called Museum of the Jewish People, right? Isn't that what it's called? But it's really, it's very small, but the museum part is devoted.
Here it
to
is.
The lives of Jews in the old city
Mhm.
during
There you
the
go.
Ottoman Empire,
Wow.
right? What's it called?
Museum Atzar HaYeshuv HaYashan.
Old
They go
New
Yeshuv.
Port Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's a little synagogue inside it.
Right there.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's an alternative site
Yeah.
from
Mhm.
when people can't do it.
And Kol HaKavod to Ayelet for finding everything. And
Yeah, and switching our
we didn't have to switch because of security. We had to switch because
Of
it had been
rain.
raining and we couldn't get down to Masada. Sandy.
Mitzvah remote.
Yes,
We
we
did.
showed those pictures. Yes.
Lived there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked in that observatory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was very.
The observatory, which is the Ramon Center, is, I didn't know that. Okay.
Where they open up the window and you see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we visited there.
I don't know why I took that picture, but.
I think the
Look how good you look. Come on, look at your hair. Look at Izzy's hair. Are you?
Yeah,
Why'd you go?
yeah, you didn't say that about that. Look how good you look.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just, okay, we're gonna end the recorded part, but we can stay here. I don't think people need to see all of that. Goodbye.